What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Another video. Can Arsenal make the top four? Can we still rescue the Premier League season? We had a brilliant result on Sunday. An important victory for us against Everton. It was a tough game. It took a lot out of the team. And I think overall we were fortunate in the end. I think, I think Everton had good chances. Looking at it, they'll probably be quite disappointed they didn't come away with at least a draw. But I think under Arteta we've shown a little bit more grit and determination. That struck me as a game yesterday that under Unai Emery I think we'd have probably drawn that, or maybe even worse. But under Arteta he's brought such a togetherness to the team, and I have to admit I was sceptical when Arteta got the job. I wasn't sure whether his lack of experience, whether he could make it happen, but he's certainly doing the business at the moment. And I think we've got half a chance. Obviously the Manchester City situation, will that enable fifth place to get into the Champions League? If so, that definitely gives us a chance. I mean, looking at the Premier League table now, we're only 4 points off fifth, Manchester United, and we're 7 points off fourth now. We've got a decent run of fixtures. I mean, our next three Premier League games, West Ham at home, Brighton away and Southampton away. I mean, if we could get 9 points out of those three games, we would definitely have a chance of making the top four. I think, we've got, Lacazette scored in the last couple of games. Martinelli still to come back. He obviously wasn't in the squad against Everton. You've got Aubameyang, top goal scorer in the Premier League. What a player this guy is. For me, a world-class striker. I put a poll out yesterday saying, is Aubameyang now the best striker in the Premier League? I think it's a debate you can have. I've always been a huge fan of Aguero, I'll be honest. He's the guy I've always said is the best. But I think Aubameyang is definitely challenging him now with the movement, with the pace, with the finishing ability, the ability to play on the left and through the middle. Incredible player, really is. We're lucky to have him at the club. You look at Pepe, he's starting to get decent numbers on the board. You've got Pablo Mari and Cedric Suarez to come back in as well. We've got a chance of achieving something. Abdi says, big up Curtis, respect, shout out Abdi. Billy Dalton said Aubameyang's first goal was Henry-esque. We all said that in the ground, the through ball, Henry coming off that left-hand side and bending it in the bottom corner. Now, look, I'm not comparing Aubameyang to Henry in any sense, although they do share the same number, 14. But it was such an Henry finish. And Billy Dalton said, as Mr. DT said yesterday, check out my review of the game yesterday, featuring DT as well. That's on the channel now. And the player ratings. Aubameyang for me was man of the match. Poster Boy says, yes, Big C, big up. Chris KR7 says, Wolves away is the critical game. There's going to be a few, mate. Honestly, Wolves away, I think Tottenham away as well. We still play Manchester City away as well. Very difficult game. Liverpool at home as well. Basil Eldo said, hi Curtis, loving the content. Big up, man. Appreciate the support. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get to 10k before the end of the season. Max Carroll says, hi Curtis, what's up, man? Favourite YouTuber. Love your vids. Would you sign Aubameyang to a new contract? 100 million %. Appreciate your comment, Max Carroll. Always see you supporting. I think Aubameyang, 30 years of age. No reason we can't give him a 2-year, maybe even a 3-year deal. He doesn't strike me as somebody where age is affecting him. He still looks sharp. He's very intelligent in the box. And I would give him a 2 or 3 year contract. I think he'll be looking for somewhere between maybe 250 to 300 grand. But hey, what do 20 goal a season strikers cost? You tell me a striker that can replace Aubameyang's goals that we can get. Potentially, we might be in the Europa League next year. Hopefully not, but if we are, people saying Timo Werner, I don't think he would come to Arsenal. I think teams in better positions than us would sign him. He's being linked with Liverpool. So I would definitely give Aubameyang the new contract. Curtis Allen said Saka needs to be tied down. Clubs will look at him. I mean, he's got 18 months left on his deal. We have to get him to sign a new contract, 100%. He's been a revelation for us, double figures for assists so far this season. Brilliant season he's having. Bob Marley 420 says, what's up, Curtis? I haven't caught one of your streams in a while. To be honest, I haven't done one for, I think, over a week. Was busy last week, so get back into it this week. Lots going off at Arsenal. Of course, Europa League second leg against Olympiacos this Thursday. We play Portsmouth in the FA Cup next Monday. And then, of course, West Ham that weekend in the Premier League. Tayyib Hussein says, good to see you again, Curtis. Big up to you. Big up, man. Always appreciate you guys supporting. Charlie DH, do you think Saka could be a left back? I think he needs coaching defensively, but I think he's got the potential. Sometimes, nowadays, fullback is an attacking position. You look at Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's a decent defender. He's not outstanding defensively, but attacking-wise, he's incredible. And that's what they want now out of fullbacks. And I think Saka, with coaching, he could become a left back. As I've said before, Ashley Cole was a left winger who converted to a left back, and look how good he was. Poster Boy said Saka and Aubameyang need to be tied down. I mean, interesting comments from Arteta yesterday regarding Aubameyang, saying that the club need to convince him to stay and show him that we're moving in the right direction. Aubameyang knows this is going to be the last major contract of his career, and he needs to believe that the club are moving in the right direction. Hopefully we can get top 4 or maybe win the Europa League. Abdi said Immobile from Lazio is a good Aubameyang replacement if we sell. I mean, Immobile scores a lot of goals in Italy. He struggled when he left Italy. That's my only worry. And, Lazio, I think, are second in Serie A. So, in reality, would he leave Lazio to come to Arsenal? That's the reality. He's a very good poacher. I don't believe he's as good as Aubameyang, though. Marco Sousa said, evening, Curtis. Big up, Marco. Always supports as well. Chris KR7 said, Aubameyang's already on 180k a week and 45 grand per goal. That's the going rate, man. I mean, I think, if you give him 250, 275 a week with 40, 50 grand per goal, I think he'd take that financially. I think it's more about the ambition of the club and what competition we're in. Don Juan said, Arsenal need a better recruitment team. I mean, the jury's still out on Raul. I think this summer he really needs to get it right, man. And they need to back him. They need to spend big money. Bob Marley 420 said, if we have attacking fullbacks, we need a stronger midfield. Definitely think we need a powerful midfielder. I've said many times, Thomas Partey is someone I would like, and Didi as well. Somebody like that. Decore, he is a bit more attacking now. But still, fits the mould of what we need. Tayyip Hussein said, who needs Ziyech when we have Saka for assists? I mean, Ziyech, of course, has signed for Chelsea, 5-year deal, very good player. I think a lot of Arsenal fans would have liked to have seen us sign him. Omar says, top four is gone. We need to stop fooling ourselves. I mean, look, Omar, big up Omar, by the way, always supports. In reality, top 4 is going to be very difficult. I agree with you. I think the best we could maybe get is 5th. Now, potentially, if the Man City situation, maybe 5th will get a Champions League football. You never know. 4 points off 5th. In reality, the Europa League is the one we need to win. But I don't think 5th is impossible. And if that Manchester City bang goes through, I think 5th will become a Champions League spot. So we have to just do what we can and then see what happens. Anthony Williams says, man like Curtis. Big up Anthony Williams. Don Juan, we are 4 points behind United in 5th. No reason we can't catch Man United, man. I'm telling you. Andrew Kane said, sick of our best players leaving us. If we were more ambitious in the market, it would help us to keep our star players. And I totally agree with you, Andrew. How many years are we going to see our best player leave the club? I want to see our best players signing new contracts, extended, staying at the club. I'm sick of seeing people leave, man. And Aubameyang, for me, if we lose him, I think we're in trouble. I'll be honest with you. We desperately need to convince him to stay at the club. Stan Kroenke said, Ceballos is a fighter. I like him. I agree with you. I can see real quality in Ceballos. I think he will get better as the season goes on. Kishen Maharajri, hope I pronounced your name right, sorry, said, how is it, Curtis? Always enjoy the content. I think Torreira can do Xhaka's job better. He's more disciplined and quicker. It's interesting that, you know, because now Ceballos is playing next to Xhaka. People are starting to say, well, should Xhaka play over Torreira? That's a good debate. I do think Xhaka and Ceballos have a little partnership going, but yeah, he doesn't have the legs, Xhaka, so it'll be interesting when we play teams like Liverpool with a lot more energy, how he gets on. Curtis Allen said, take out Aubameyang's goals and we are doomed. You can't argue with that. Big Gunner D said, the season ain't done till the last game. No team is consistent at this time apart from Liverpool. And that's it. We have to keep believing. Wilson said, it is absolutely essential that Arsenal keep Aubameyang and Eddie, to be honest. I think Eddie's got a few years left on his deal. But yeah, Saka, of course, 18 months left. And Aubameyang, I mean, where would we be without his goals? Charlie DH, Ceballos played more defensive, I noticed, against Everton. I thought he was an attacking mid. But look, you know, at times you've got to do that in the Premier League. Everton were decent against us and, you know, he had to give us more defensive discipline. I thought he did quite well. I do like Danny Ceballos. Arsenal Forever said, yo, big up, man. Taib Hussain said, Curtis, I used to think Aubameyang would ever play for Arsenal, but would never play for Arsenal, but in football anything can happen. I mean, yeah, I never saw that deal happening, you know. It was the same window that Alexis Sanchez left. I was gutted when Sanchez went to Man United. And when we got Aubameyang in, you know, it gave me hope that things would happen. But what I don't understand with Arsenal, we signed these top players, you know, we did the same with Sanchez. We took that chance with Ozil as well. You know, we sign a player on a 4 or 5 year contract and that's it. They run down that contract, get to probably a year left, then leave. You know, after 1 year, it was clear that Aubameyang was different class for Arsenal. After a year, I would have said to Aubameyang, let's extend. You know, let's not leave it 3 years, let's get it to 5 years. Don Juan said, Curtis, would you sell Lacazette in the summer? That is a difficult question because Lacazette is still one of our better players and I don't think you should sell your better players. I think if you're going to really move like a big club, you should have depth in the squad. If Aubameyang signed a new contract, would Lacazette play second fiddle to him? The thing is, how many teams are gonna knock on the door for Lacazette? He hasn't had a great season. And if you're not getting big money for him, why would you sell him? I think there's players we need to sell before Lacazette. So if I'm honest, I would keep him. I would keep him. I still think he's a good player. I think he needs to score more goals. But I always think you should be selling your weaker players before your better players. And I still think Lacazette is one of our better players, certainly in the attack. In terms of players I would sell, I had a bit of a debate yesterday with Robbie before my interview on AFTV. And he was talking about Mustafi and bigging him up. Okay, fair enough. Mustafi is playing well. But for me, I would still sell Mustafi in the summer. I don't think he can be relied upon over a long period of time. And I think he's been at the club long enough. He's having a good run of form. But is Mustafi going to take Arsenal Football Club to where we need to be? I don't think so. I respect the form he's in. But he's got a year left on his deal in the summer. Now, I don't believe Arsenal would allow him to run down his contract. We paid 35 million for Mustafi, so they ain't going to do that. Would you extend Mustafi's contract? For me, no chance. With a year left on his deal, give me 20 million plus, I would sell him. You know, we paid 35. He hasn't been a success. With a year left and a bit of form, you might get 20 mil plus for him and let him go. Let me know what you think. Would you keep Mustafi? For me, 100% I would sell him. Despite the fact he's got a new flashy haircut and he is playing well. But I still thought our defence looked shaky yesterday. Chris KR7 said, watch the second goal, Mustafi missed the header. I mean, that's the problem. I don't think Mustafi and David Luiz are dominant in the air, and that's also something that we need to address. Billy Dalton said, this summer I want to see Arsenal sign Max Aarons, Wilfried Zaha, Upamecano or Umtiti. I would agree with probably most of them. Max Aarons, hopefully will be available at a cheaper price with Norwich all but relegated. I think Zaha, we could still do with a left winger. Because I would still like to see Aubameyang play through the middle. And then Upamecano, I would like us to get him. David Luiz is actually a beautiful passer of the ball, said Curtis Allen. I mean, that pass yesterday, left foot through ball, the weight of the pass, you know, fantastic. One of the best passes of the ball at Arsenal, to be honest. Charlie DH said Zaha is overrated. Do you agree? I think he needs to produce more end product. In terms of danger, you know, he's very dangerous. I don't think 70, 80 million. I think maybe 50 million. I would take him. Wilson said, why do we need Zaha? For me, I would move Aubameyang central next season. Although you have got Martinelli on the left, but I still think Martinelli will end up playing through the middle eventually. He doesn't look to me like an out-and-out winger. Chris KR7 said, Saliba was man of the match for Saint Etienne yesterday. It's good, that's what I like to hear, man. Lumbercamp said, the dream scenario would be Laka, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Elneny, Mustafi, Xhaka, Kolasinac. All have a great season, then we cash in the summer. Whenever these man play well, it's just good form, dead ballers. I mean, I still think Lacazette is a good player. Ozil when he can be bothered, which ain't often enough. Interesting today that Roma have come out and said that they want to sign Mkhitaryan in the summer. They had a £8.5 million bid rejected. In January, it was believed that Arsenal want £20 million for him. But let's be honest, I think, you know, £12, £15 million, if you could get anything around that for Mkhitaryan. Bear in mind the fact he's on 175 grand a week. For me, if you could get 12, 13, 14, 15 million for Mkhitaryan at 30 years of age, I would be taking that. In reality, if we got, let's say, for example, we get 15 million for Mkhitaryan. Let's say we get 5 million for Elneny. You get 15 million for Mustafi. You know, that's already, what, 35 mil. Kolasinac, 20 mil. That's 55. I would sell Ozil as well, personally. Would you sell Xhaka? Possibly I would sell Xhaka at the right price as well. You know, we could easily raise 70 or 80 million. Now, if we've already got 70 or 80 million to spend, that would give us maybe 140 million to spend in the summer. That's how you've got to work the budget. Chris KR7 said Xhaka as well. Omar said I would sell Xhaka. I just don't feel like Xhaka can be relied upon. The lack of consistency in his game. I think he struggles against midfields that have got high energy. You know, I think against Manchester City, against Liverpool, against teams like that, he gets found out sometimes. Billy Dalton said, I would agree to sell Mkhitaryan, Elneny, Kolasinac, Maitland-Niles, Bellerin, Mustafi, Guendouzi, Socrates, Xhaka. A lot of people you want sold there, bro. I hear you on most of them. It's hard to sell that many players, but Ainsley Maitland-Niles just seems to be out of the fold at the moment. And then Bellerin. I don't know about you, but Bellerin doesn't look the same player to me since coming back from injury. He got ripped apart last week by St. Maximin, and yesterday I thought Richarlison caused him all sorts. Big up Leon Hyman. Check out his YouTube channel. I believe it's Jamrock Gunner. Oh, sorry, mate. You're it's moving so quick. Your comment has actually gone off. Let me try and get it back up. Right, so he said, we need to be the first to raid the relegation teams for the Premier League that perform well despite their club's form. Examples would be Grealish, Aarons, Ake and Decore. Do you know what? I would probably take all four of them. Grealish, 100% I would take him. Aarons I would take. Nathan Ake I think's decent. Seems injury prone, and Decore I would take him. Basil Eldo said, would you sell Willock? I wouldn't really. I think he's got potential. He definitely needs to improve his end product though. Big Gunner D, Xhaka is offering a lot for us. He's a must-keep even next season. I'm not totally sure whether he is a must-keep, I'll be honest. I think if someone offered big money, I would cash in on him. Curtis Allen said Richarlison is actually a baller, 100%. You know, I looked at Richarlison yesterday. I thought, oh, we could do with him in our team on the left. Not saying he's better than Aubameyang, but I consider Aubameyang a striker through the middle, despite the fact he's doing well on the left. Would you take Almiron from Newcastle? Not for me. Very quick, but he's like a number 10. I don't think we need that. Wilson said, you are doing a great job, Curtis. Big up, man. Big up, Wilson. I appreciate that. Don Juan said, Bellerin ain't match fit yet. Needs more games before we see the best. Maybe. He's been back a while, though, you know. But I let him off, you know. He's had a major injury. You know, Cedric Suarez might be looking, thinking, you know, he can take Bellerin out of the team, because Bellerin, for me, looks shaky defensively, man. Unknown Driller said, Saka is not perfect. He had a poor second half, but the lad is special. I agree. I thought he was poor second half. He made some sloppy errors, but the delivery, you know, for the goal. And overall, his form has been outstanding. And, you know, whether he becomes a left back or we end up playing him left wing, this kid we need on a new contract. I think he's a brilliant player. The standout young talent along with Martinelli for me at the club. Basil Eldo said, Bellerin's form is affecting Pepe. Well, it won't help, you know. As a winger, you know, if your fullback's at it, that definitely helps the winger. King Chaos said, Everton had 17 shots against us. What do you think about that? They were dangerous, man. And you know what? I felt like second half, we were hanging on. I think the Olympiacos game had a big effect on us in that second half. And I think we were hanging on. As I was saying before, our fixtures. Our next 3 Premier League games, West Ham at home, Brighton away, Southampton away. 3 winnable games, in my opinion, and a chance for Arsenal to make ground. Now, I think top 4 is going to be difficult. I think 7 points will be difficult to close, although not impossible. But we have to be aware that that 5th place may become a Champions League spot if Manchester City get this ban. So I think we can win them next 3 games. I don't see any, and I think the other teams will drop points. I really do. Max Carroll said, interesting, Arteta has so much belief in Eddie. Yeah, spot on. I'm going to be honest. I like Eddie, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether he played well yesterday. He took his goal well, but I wouldn't be starting him in the big games. I got to be honest, you know. There's something I'm not sure about with him yet. I'm not fully convinced. But he's got talent, but yeah, we'll see. 7 days, 3 wins, big up Arsenal, says Big Gunner D. Beatsbox Dre Beat said, after last year's collapse, I don't trust these players. I get you, man. Billy Dalton said, Zaha left wing, Aubameyang through the middle, Pepe on the right would be a frightening front 3 for next season. I agree with that. 5th is on for me, mate, says Jason Parbury. I agree. 4 points behind Man United. I believe we can catch them. Beatbox Dre Beat said, Aubameyang on the wing can't be long term, surely. I agree. He has to play central next season. Chris KL7 said, Eddie is more mobile and faster than Lacazette. Yeah, probably is, but he's not better than Aubameyang, and I believe Aubameyang should be playing central. And let's be honest, Eddie's not better than Lacazette, despite Lacazette's form at the moment. Basil said, Odsonne Edouard for Lacazette. Is that the guy at Celtic? I've heard a bit about him. I watched a few videos of him. I'm not too sure how good he is. He certainly scored some good goals. Unknown Driller says, do you trust Mustafi and Xhaka? No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. Xhaka a little bit more than I did. Mustafi, no. It was only a few games ago, you know, he made that terrible back pass against Chelsea that got David Luiz sent off. So yeah, I'm not fully convinced by Mustafi, to be honest. Despite his good form, you know, fair play to him, he is in good form, but I'm definitely not convinced by him. Leon Hyman said, put Alisson and Ederson in front of our backline this season and tell me Leno isn't better than both. I think Alisson's the best in the league. I would say Leno's possibly as good as, if maybe a bit better than Ederson, possibly. But Alisson's the best in the Prem for me. Simon Bradshaw said, Mustafi isn't tall enough to be anywhere near a world-class defender. I'm not sure it's the height, but, you know, some players can still be brilliant at jumping. I just don't think Mustafi is good enough to be Arsenal's #1 centre-back. I would like to see Saliba next to, maybe an Upamecano or someone like that. What's going to happen to Reece Nelson? Would you sell, says Nathaniel James. He's struggling. But I'm sure he'll get opportunity between now and the end of the season. But at the moment, he's had a poor season. Puyol was 5'10", says Basil Eldo. Yeah, say no more. And he was an absolute beast. Curtis Allen said Mustafi has too many mistakes in him. I agree with that. I look at him as like a ticking time bomb. Eventually I feel like a mistake will happen, and top defenders, you don't feel like that. You feel like you can trust them, and I don't feel like I can fully trust Mustafi. I don't know what you guys think. So Mustafi, for me, I would sell in the summer. And at the right price, Xhaka could go as well. I think we need to rebuild that midfield. I think we need a couple of midfielders. Bear in mind that Ceballos is on loan with no option to buy. He may go back to Real Madrid. And for me, then we'd need 2 midfielders. I would also move Mesut Ozil on in the summer as well. I think, he's working hard. His link-up play's all right, but does he hurt the opposition enough? It's still only 1 goal this season. I would still look to move him on 350k a week, if I'm honest. Tottenham play Wolves next week. Chance for us to capitalise, says Beats Box, Dre Beats. And there you go. Wolves or Tottenham, one of them will drop points. Wolves will fancy that game because Tottenham, no Son and no Kane. Don One said, you must big up Mustafi too. He's played well in the last 7 games. Yeah, he has. But I wouldn't keep him. Let's have a look. Don Burkamp says, Skodran Aguero, my centre-back. Hey, don't get carried away, bro. I'm telling you. Curtis, we need to get rid of Bellerin, says Mr. J84. Interesting. A lot of people were onto Bellerin yesterday. Last couple games, he's looked shaky, but St. Maxim and Richarlison are not easy to play against. How much is Grealish worth? 50 million, says Krish. I think if Villa go down, he'll be cheaper. If they stay up, they will want 50 million plus for him. Big Gunner D said, I'd rather sell Guendouzi, he'd get more money. Yeah, good point. I'm not the biggest fan of Guendouzi. I think the fact he's been called up for the French squad, you're selling him now as a French international. If someone offered big money for Guendouzi, I would consider it. Kolasinac shouldn't play ahead of Saka, says Salou Bashiru. I agree. I was disappointed when I saw Kolasinac starting yesterday ahead of Saka. Unknown Driller, there's been argument on Twitter going around who's better, Van Persie or Aubameyang in their prime. I've got to go for Aubameyang. Now, don't get me wrong, all-round game, Van Persie had, probably better touch and, was a bit more easy on the eye and a bit more fluid, but he had 1 great season at Arsenal, Van Persie. It took years for him to explode. He went to United, had 1 great year, and then he fell off, Aubameyang, the consistency, the numbers, they speak for themselves. So I'm going for Aubameyang. I'm rooting for him, man. Chris said, Aubameyang, man, 49 in 73 league games. There you go. Stan Kroenke said, Van Persie over Aubameyang. I just think for that short spell he was brilliant, but the consistency wasn't there, man. So I'm rooting for Aubameyang. For me, Aubameyang is world class, and I think Aubameyang is. He can have the argument now that he's the best striker in the Prem. I agree. I think he can have a go with Aguero and Kane and Firmino for me. Basil Eldo said Hazard or Sanchez. I got to go for Sanchez at his best, I'm a huge Hazard fan, but you look at Hazard at Real Madrid, not doing much. Sanchez did bits at Barcelona, and he scored way more goals as well. Sanchez was one of my favourite ever Arsenal players when he was at the club. I think the guy was an absolute superstar. Chris says Sanchez or Aubameyang. Oh, that's difficult. I got to be honest, I was a huge Sanchez fan. I'm not going to lie. But I love Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang is more of a goal scorer, but Sanchez had the all-round game. You could just give him the ball and he'd run past 2 or 3 and score. Aubameyang's more of a poacher. He needs service. What a shame what happened to him. But, money. We may come against him later in the season, man. He's at Inter Milan. They're still in the Europa League. I'm hoping someone knocks them out because they look dangerous. Don't forget, everyone, keep subscribing to the channel. Big up everyone in the live chat. I appreciate all your comments. Let me know what you think. Can we make the top four? Will fifth be enough? You know, if Manchester City get banned, will that get us a Champions League spot? Is 7 points too big a gap for us to catch Chelsea, who are currently fourth? Or can we win the Europa League? Can we beat Inter Milan, Man United, or do we need them to knock each other out? Let me know what you think. Big up everyone in the live chat. Big up everyone watching after. Smash that like button as well. I appreciate all your support. And I'll be back later in the week with more live streams, more content. Take care. Bless.